What is up, everybody? Hello. Happy Friday. It felt so good talking into this camera the other night that I'm going to do some more of this, and it's for myself and the company I keep. So when I'm driving around with just my thoughts in my mind, it's better to get it out there. So I just wanted to share a couple thoughts on oversimplifying things in order to make them easier to digest, right? We do it with our food. You know, you have to cut it into pieces in order to consume it. So, these conspiracy nonsense, just craziness that is going around is 1000% people oversimplifying things in order to digest them. Now, how can you say that, Forrest? How can you say a fucking G5 conspiracy about how COVID-19 is a bacterium that was man-made, blah, 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 insane. Well, how is that oversimplifying things? Because at the root of every single one of those statements is, I know what's up. What easier way to oversimplify things than to become all of a sudden the authority, to become all of a sudden the keeper of the faith, to all of a sudden self-appoint yourself, right? You self-appoint yourself the one who knows. Right then and there, you've made everything so simple because it's as far as you decide. It's as far as you believe. It has nothing to do with anything other than you have no idea how to digest the complicated food on your plate. That you just decide, well, I know what's best for me. And it's none of this. Okay, that might not have been a very good metaphor. But an example of just saying there's no difference between Biden and Trump. Woo, boy. What an oversimplification of an idiotic statement. But if you are the one that makes that decision, then you can say that because it simplifies so many things that you now don't even have to think about. It's so many truths you don't have to accept. It's on and on and on and on and on. There's a great meme going around where it's like, it lists education and experience and all these things in the medical field, and then one person online says bullshit. You know? Because they feel like they understand this only because they've now become the authority. Because they have no idea what you're talking about, and it's going to take some work and some time to understand what people are talking about. And you may never understand fully what they're talking about, but you can still get a lot out of it and understand at least the important pieces. Jesus Christ. I didn't understand anything of Inception. And people apparently loved that one. Thumbs down from me, though. That movie was lame. So, this is my opinion. I'm just talking to my camera, driving around with my thoughts. So that's just the thought. Oversimplifying things. Don't do it. The world's too complicated. I posted a clip from the show The Good Place the other day because Michael, Ted Danson's character, hit the nail on the head so hard with in a world that's become so complicated, it gets harder to do good. And they give the example of a guy in the 15th century picks a rose from a bush he's grown, and he gives them to his mother on Mother's Day, and he gets 4 good points towards his afterlife. Then you have in 1993 a guy with the same name, Doug no less, sends roses to his mother, and he gets docked 450 points from the afterlife because he ordered it with a phone that was made in a sweatshop, and the roses were grown with chemical pesticides and migrant labor and shipped all across the world. So the same action did not yield the same results. And to just say things like, oh, well, heart disease kills way more people than COVID. Well, yes, heart disease does in a year. We haven't seen what a year of COVID can do yet. And in the few months that we've seen what it can do, it's already surpassed some of the deadliest illnesses in this country in a year's time. Also, heart disease is not a communicable disease. You can't catch it in a crowded room. It takes years of abuse to your ecosystem. And even to oversimplify what COVID is by saying, oh, it's just the common flu. Well, let's look at the common flu. How many people a year still die from the common flu? And that's something we know how to treat. If you actually say that as a whatever, this is just a part of your engaging with other people in arguments. That alone should terrify you, saying that in a year of something we actually know about, we still lose all these people. And here's an illness you're saying is like the exact same thing. And we have already seen how many people it's killed in a couple months, and we know nothing about how to treat this thing. And how do people digest what's going on around them? Well, first, they oversimplify it. And then to even prevent having to just do what I did, which is like, wow, that should really terrify you actually saying that, is to put yourself in the authority position. Unbelievable. Freedom isn't free, and it takes a lot of thinking from you and me. Because if you feel like freedom is just a reason to be belligerent and ignorant, you are definitely not free, because you're constantly defending that. You are constantly walking away from arguments. You're constantly walking into arguments. You're constantly alienating people around you because you have said, well, I know. You know, and you don't know shit. As Bubbles said on Trailer Park Boys, Socrates was the smartest man who ever lived. But Socrates, you know, what was his biggest mic drop? All I know is that I know nothing. And it can take a lifetime to understand how much nothing you know. Can you see that guy? You don't deserve that Superman shirt, man! That was a lame heckle on my part. So there's a guy. He's fucking yelling about Donald Trump. Stop yelling without a mask, you asshole! Let's go heckle this guy. Let's go heckle this clown.
Hi! Matthew Swain was educated at UCLA.
So there's a guy who is doing exactly what I was saying. He's just yelling about how terrible Trump and Biden are. You know what? It's those things. It's like, well, you know what? Duh. But what are we gonna do about it? First of all, Trump is fucking evil as he's as evil as Satan. He is Satan. He's fucking infiltrated. I mean, it's textbook. But Biden is useful, man. Potato versus orange. You can do a lot more things with a potato. So you gotta recognize where people are useful, and the people who think that who are crying about the third party, it's like, dude, we're almost there. Like, open your eyes. Don't you see how Republican Party's gonna be sunk, but they'll still be on life support. But the Democratic Party's gonna split into progressives. You should want Biden in because it helps your progressive platform at this point. Trump won't. And you know what? They don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers. Let me give you an example that's concrete. The movie Kick-Ass 2, released in the earlier times of everybody having broadband, right? That movie was the most illegally downloaded movie of that year. Talking millions of people saw that thing, but nobody paid for it. So you know what happened to Kick-Ass 3? They gave up on it. So, I can't believe that guy is a progressive and he's not wearing a fucking mask and he's yelling on the streets in a Superman t-shirt. Anyway, back to what I was saying. But nobody paid for it. So you have so many people that are like, you know, they're young, they grew up under Obama, so they're spoiled already. They don't have perspective of how good that was and how right-tracked it was and how one person can't fucking solve everything. Again, an oversimplification of things is to put all your eggs into someone else's basket and say, you didn't do enough for me. And, but the numbers just aren't there yet. The numbers just aren't there yet. They will be there. But you have to keep on pushing. And in fact, if you're a young progressive, you should be offended and terrified and working hard on any of the people of your age range that are saying they're just not going to vote. Because let me tell you, that's going to sink. That's going to sink not only now, but it'll sink later. Which means that will probably sink later. And it'll sink later. And who knows if it'll ever gain ground again. Because people get pummeled into the fucking ground by people who don't have their interests in power. All right, well, to stay on one thread of thought, I'll just finish with this. That guy who was just yelling, I thought he was a Trumper at first because he's wearing no mask and he's yelling about Biden being a traitor. And then he's also yelling Trump is a racist. But he is putting up the most basic flyer you've ever seen. I'm just gonna read it to you. I'm not gonna give this any it says he's just yelling, no mask. It says the people's proposal, including the referendum to ratify and the new constitution and the new Bill of Rights of the USA. Okay, that's what it says at the top in small font. Then in really big font for most of the page, it says 11/11, as in a time, 7/11/2020, time to win, President Matthew. At the Lincoln Memorial, tell everybody. And then in small letters at the bottom, it says 2020 vote for the electors for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Matthew Swearingen. We will fix everything, with 3 exclamation points. Your Honor, case closed. Oversimplifying. First of all, oversimplifying that this tells anybody anything. It says nothing. Also, it says we will fix everything, and it's 2 names. We will fix everything. I know the truth because I'm yelling on the street some obvious bullshit that Trump's a racist and Biden is a, corrupt politician. Although, I mean, is he? We see what corrupt politicians look like. Is Biden really that corrupt? In that many years, I mean, you're going to pick up some dirt. You know, photographers are going to fuck some models at some point. No matter how ugly they are, if they work in it long enough, they're going to fuck some models. They might get Me Too'd. Hazard. Occupational hazard. As you can tell, I'm trying to let that joke find some way of being funny. So I apologize. So, yeah, there you go. Man and woman. The world is so much bigger than us. Come on now. No one person is an authority. No one person should be an authority. No one person can be a hero. That guy who's wearing a Superman shirt doesn't even get what makes Superman interesting. What makes Superman interesting is as much as he can do. Or Supergirl, as much as she can do, which some say she can do more than Kal-El. It's still just one person. And that one person can never always be enough, no matter what. And that one person can also be manipulated just like the rest of us. That's what makes that crest of the House of El, in my opinion, so amazing. Is that what drives Kara Zor-El and Kal-El, Clark Kent, Kara Danvers, Superman and Supergirl. What drives them is not only the abilities and talents they have to help, but also to be the best they can be and to have good people with them, just with them in their lives, and always strive for that, because they are only one. And Lord knows they know the universe is way bigger than they are. And they just happened to be raised under a yellow sun. I'm gonna end on that one.